What a long and mildly ungrammatical title. And why is the cover so colorful?
Is this your first time seeing a light novel, ma'am? Oh, they're the most popular of books nowadays. Would you like me to recommend something?
Fine. One shouldn't judge a book by its cover after all. Maybe.
Of course. Why don't you try this one? It's Outlander Brigade, When the Wind of Death Blew Towards the Blonde Samurai.
I heard that this book's author describes action in vivid detail.
Now I've only skimmed through a few pages, but it feels like it's all fight scenes. There are only subjects and predicates, and the syntax is a tad simple.
Subjects? Predicates?
The protagonist just ends up fighting in every scene with no proper build-up. Will anyone even enjoy—
How about... the good thing about being reincarnated as a hilly churl is that I only need to eat sunsetias to become stronger.
A reincarnation isekai story? Those are pretty popular right now.
Isekai? What in the world is that? Also, why do tropes? Those fictional rules used to push the plot forward, yes? They're definitely effective in achieving a distancing effect.
Sorry. What is this distancing effect?
However, this book doesn't explain how reincarnation correlates to becoming stronger. Such an illogical rule will affect the coherence of the story. Well,
How about this? I had to fight tooth and nail to get this in stock.
Oh, that's the latest volume of Onibudo!
now that's a rather normal title length. Oh, Kale, do you like this series?
Yes, but I don't like it that much. Madam, are you going to use this series as teaching material?
Let me see. The dialogue flows quite well, but there are too many phrases here that I don't recognize. Third eye of perception, illusory mirror, and so on. Are these terms that are tied to tropes?
I also thought those names were strange when I was reading them.
It's impossible to derive the meaning of these phrases in isolation. Also, their morphological properties are quite pedestrian, really. Or did the protagonist purposely create these strange names to disorient their foes? So there's no deeper purpose. It's quite hard to understand stories written these days.
You're right. It's such a weird book. But you keep wanting to read the next page.
Even the most popular book in Sumeru back then had greater depth than anything written today. Yes, a Bahumano researcher wrote it while researching folk legends. The plot had many twists. The world building was fantastic, and even the writing could withstand scrutiny. When it was still being published, many people in the academia were reading it. Even the sages back then all described the story as a timeless classic. The series must have concluded after so many years, right? Perhaps it's even more popular now.
Is there a book like that in Sumeru? I've never heard of such a thing before. What's the title?
It's called Tales of Shariar. Do you sell it here?
Tales of Shariar? I don't think I've heard of that before. When was it published?
About 100 years ago.
100 years ago? Are you pulling my leg? What sort of book can remain popular for 100 years?
The Legend of Antara is popular to this very day, isn't it? I just heard someone telling it a few days ago in a cafe. If an old story like that is still being shared, then Tales of Shariar must be even more popular.
Even if that is the case, I really don't carry that book here in my store.
What? Is that because of the academia's strict control over books in recent years? I can't believe they've allowed the people of Sumeru to become so uncivilized. How can they not know about the Tales of Shariar?
Tales of Shariar? Oh, wait. I think I heard an antique seller on the other end of Treasure Street mention that name before. I mean, it is a book from 100 years ago. Why don't you try asking for it there?
Tales of Shariar is considered an antique now? How could the Academia have let such an excellent work of literature be forgotten like this? Traveler, Kale, I'm going to get to the bottom of this. Let's meet at the antique sellers.
Madam, wait! Oh no, this is bad. You asked me why I'm scared of Madame Farazan, right? It's not because I don't know how to respond to her kindness. It's because I'm afraid of that ancient language she researches, because I can barely understand any of it. What if she uses ancient texts as even so? What if researchers from 100 years ago like to use ancient languages in their books? We've got to catch up to her!
Found it! The 5th volume of Tales of Shahryar.
Wow, you actually found it!
I never thought this book would ever get sold.
All right, that's our teaching material secured. We also now know what to call this course. Analysis of Classical Texts. After all, this book is definitely worthy of being called a classic.
Can I take a look? Luckily the language being used here isn't ancient at all. I can recognize a few words here and there. Huh? But why aren't there pictures in this book?
As long as the writing is good, readers won't need any illustrations to imagine the scenes. Worry not, I shall thoroughly explain the difficult sections. You'll like this book, I know it. After all this time, I wonder if Aaliyah and Aziz ended up together. And who obtained the desert gem in the end? Sir, do you have the subsequent volumes of this series?
I don't think so.
Is that so? And here I thought I could finally read the ending. Never mind, I'll keep searching for the later volumes myself. If I'm to use it as a teaching material, it's better to start earlier in the series. Where are the first 4 volumes? Why aren't they all together?
I don't have those either. Actually, this is the only volume I have.
Is this series really that popular?
No. It's not popular at all. Rather, there's absolutely no demand for it.
No demand? Impossible! Back then, I'd come across at least 3 groups of people talking about it during a single stroll at the Academia.
Seriously? No one told me that this book was anything special when I first got it.
Where did you get this from? Can you still contact the seller?
I'm afraid not. This book was sold together with a whole bunch of antique furniture. I didn't even notice it initially. Otherwise, the Matra would have come knocking. Wait, is this book actually worth?
That's impossible. No matter how strict the Academia was, there's no way Tales of Shahryar could have fallen into such a state.
I do remember a passerby skimming through the book a few days ago. However, he simply sighed and left.
He sighed? Why would he react like that? Given the quality of Tales of Shahryar, he should have been entranced after a single glance. I'm sorry. Traveler, Kale, please give me a moment. I'd like to look through this book first. Why is there another misunderstanding between Aaliyah and Aziz? Also, why is there no mention of the desert gem at all? And a new character is introduced with no foreshadowing at all? Also, what are all these new names and terms? Is this really the Tales of Shahryar I know?
Well, that passerby reacted in much the same way. It's Madar from the cafe over there. You know, the fellow who spends all day telling the legend of Antara. Since that's also a very old story, maybe he knows a thing or two about that, Tales of, whatever it's called.
Then let's go ask around at the cafe. Huh? Madame Farazan?
Huh? Oh, yes. Let's go.
Another day, another empty room.
Excuse me? But are you Mada?
Yes! Are you here to listen to my story?
Well, we actually came to ask about something else.
I see.
Sorry.
It's fine. I'm used to it, more or less. So, how can this terribly unpopular storyteller help you?
Do you know about Tales of Shahryar?
Huh? Tales of Shahryar? Why, I can barely remember the last time anyone talked about it. My master always talked about how incredibly popular that book used to be. However...
Your master?
Yes, the one who taught me how to be a storyteller. He said that Tales of Shahryar was written by his master's master's master. He also said that this great-great-grandmaster was an academia researcher, and that even the sages liked the series. He wrote 4 volumes back then, and the reviews just got better and better. You couldn't find a single person in Sumeru who hadn't read his books.
And then? What happened next? Why doesn't anyone know about Tales of Shahryar now?
Oh, it's hard to tell when it comes to trends. One day everyone likes stories like that, and the next day their tastes change completely. Instead of writing a proper ending, this great-great-grandmaster kept trying to extend the story. To tap into popular trends, he added a lot of tropes. Then
How could that be? Then what happened to Tales of Shahryar?
In the end, there's no ending. The great-great-grandmaster, he got so infuriated that he stopped writing.
What? So there's no ending? The readers didn't care?
By that time, only a very small number of people were reading Tales of Shahryar. Anyway, my master probably exaggerated. How could a work possibly have been that popular? The only tangible thing my great-great-grandmaster left is the original draft of Legend of Antara. He also left behind many theses from his research phase. When my master talked about Legend of Antara, he'd even quote from those theses. My master is a much better storyteller than me. Even when we're telling the same story about Antara, he's always able to draw in a huge crowd. But even he won't recite Tales of Shahryar due to its ever-changing writing style and its lack of an ending.
So, Antara's story is the one that lasted through the years.
Well, not even sages can definitively ascertain the quality of something like a story. In the end, only time.
Only time?
Madame Farazan?
It's been 100 years. Perhaps some things I once believed to be great aren't so after all.
Yeah! Master helped me find a lot of famous books at first, but in the end, I realized that I couldn't get into them. No matter how good those stories are, I can't improve my skills if I can't bring myself to read them in the first place.
Huh. Indeed. That is true. Readers' interests and trends of a time are not things that are so easily predicted. What was popular 100 years ago could be completely forgotten in modern times, and yet 100 years, as far as history is concerned, is but a blink of an eye. If Tales of Shahryar hadn't chased after trends and instead stuck to its original style from start to finish, it might have stood some chance of gaining renewed popularity. No, even if that didn't happen, at least it would be a work that was true.
Huh? Our conversation just got a lot more serious.
I don't really get what you're talking about, but it does sound
How unseemly. I almost got carried away because of a single book. Well then, we should get back to the... No, it's much too old.
Oh.
Kale, you found a book that you liked at the bookstall, yes?
Yes, but I don't really...
Then we'll use that book as our teaching material. Now that I think about it, Using a book that you like is the most suitable choice for teaching you how to read. As for the academia, as long as we come up with an appropriate course name, we should be able to get away with this. My, it sounds like you've dealt with the academia before. Let's go with that. Now then, let's return to the book vendor in a bit and buy the latest volume of this Onibudo. But if I wish to use it as teaching material, I have to... Speaking of which, other than third eye of perception and illusory mirror, I own such things as... Even if it reminds me of my dark history, I still can't help but be drawn in by the story. And the author has written all the things that I only dare whisper into a tree. Why do people use dark history to refer to awkward or embarrassing memories? Is this some slang that was invented in the last century? If one of our learning objectives was researching linguistic changes over the past 100 years, it might make it easier to get these books approved as teaching material.
Oh, I can tell you what that's all about. Apparently, in their youth, some people used to imagine themselves as someone burdened by fate, fighting against the world, etc. But as they grew older, they started to become embarrassed by such memories. Some would write those fantasies into novels, while others would entrust such tales to tree hollows.
Mana, you know, I suddenly have the urge to hear a story about Antara.
Huh? Why so suddenly?
I knew it. There will always be people who love the golden oldies. Now, let me tell you all about the ancient hero, Antara.
What now? She seems so busy. Master said there's no rush, but I know that he's been busy working on something at Parte's DI, so I feel for Madame Farazan. But if I get her in trouble with the academia, then she won't have the time to help Master. What should I do? Oh, this is such a headache. But if someone does complain to the academia, wouldn't it make Farazan's situation more awkward? And if the academia investigated and found her at Parte's DI, things would get even worse for her. Do you have some way to invite her over to Parte's DI without stepping on the academia's toes? Okay then. I'm counting on you.
Huh. I have to teach students from Haravatat or Okasharawar a favor. It strikes me that they might be even less happy about such a deal than I am.
I think I can sympathize with them.
Madame Farazan, we're back! Sorry for asking again, but are you sure you can't go to Parte's DI today?
Well, since you're asking me so sincerely, let's just ignore the academia and...
Please, Madame Farazan, focus! Today's the deadline. Huh?
Yes. I see. No wonder he sent you two over. Why, that lad didn't make it very clear in his letter, now did he? Otherwise, I would have reported it as part of my research.
Yeah, that's right! Master sent us over to explain everything to you.
Wait. Opportunities for collaborative research don't just come out of thin air. This seems like too much of a coincidence. Also, there isn't much overlap between Madame Farazan's research and that of Amorta, right? What will you even be collaborating on?
Master wants to research,
A fully automated irrigation system.
A fully automated irrigation system?
Precisely. It's a system that can automatically adjust the amount of water it provides based on the season and the plant species involved. I saw a similar mechanism while exploring a ruin in the rainforest. That's why Tainari wanted to collaborate with me.
A mechanism like that exists? Why haven't I heard of it before?
I found it 100 years ago, so it's only natural that you don't know about it. Why don't you go ask your teacher's teacher? Perhaps they've heard about it from their teacher.
But we can't prove its existence one way or the other, right?
Fret not. I'll have Tainari write an official proposal to the Academia later. That should do it, right?
An official proposal. Fine. We haven't made any progress with either the collaborative project or the elective course anyway. I'll go inform my superiors now. Please do take care of the paperwork as soon as possible. Don't delay this any longer.
Sure. I'll be sure to needle him until he gets it done. Phew. I think she bought it. Even though this is our first meeting, I must say, we make a good team.
Wow! You made up that excuse on the spot, huh? Madam Farazan, did you really find an irrigation system 100 years ago? If the academia asks for any details...
Who knows? It's been 100 years, so it wouldn't be too surprising if I've forgotten a few details, no?
Huh? Then how will we explain things to them?
I'll let Tainari worry about whatever documents we might need to send to the academia. If I'm right, the request he has in store for me won't be any simpler than the academia nonsense.
What are you talking about?
Master, we're back! Huh? Where did he go?
You don't have to shout. I can hear you. Well, you got here much faster than I expected. I thought you'd have a lot more business to take care of.
Thanks to the Traveler, I was able to, pawn off various problems of mine onto others.
Onto others? What does that mean?
We can discuss that later. You're looking for me because of the thing you mentioned in the letter, right?
That's right. Please follow me.
A monster? Why is there a monster here?
Don't be scared, Kale. This is the mechanical life form the Traveler and I saved a while back. Its name is Karkata. It's the final work of a late junior of mine.
You mean Abatui? He must have been a genius to create one of such polish all by himself. It's uncommon that a Spontamod researcher is able to create such an intricate machine. If he were still around, we could probably chat the day away. What a shame. Something seems wrong here. Have you been maintaining it?
Karkata has been lying down like this since a few days ago. I've taken a few courses conducted by Spontamod before, so I've managed to perform some passable repairs on Karkata's energy supply. My knowledge can only prevent its condition from deteriorating any further. But Madame Farazan, you should be able to find a way to repair it.
Not necessarily. Mechanical life forms are created using techniques from alchemy. There are multiple modules here that influence each other. A simplistic knowledge of mechanisms will not serve here. You know, each mechanical life form is very different from the next. So even I cannot be sure if my understanding of mechanical life forms is going to be...
Karkata?
Can you all go outside for a minute? I need a bit of space. Before I do a thorough check, everything we've just said is but conjecture.
All right. We're counting on you, Madame Farazan. We'll wait here till Farazan finishes her inspection. Her past, huh? Quite a few people in the academia know about what happened to her. Perhaps it'd be best if I'm the one to tell you. I've told you before that she had disappeared for 100 years, right? From her perspective, trapped might be a more apt description. Her exact words were,
That ruin was crawling with traps and coded inscriptions from wall to wall. I did all I could to decipher the code and deactivate the traps to escape the ruin, but there was no way out. I lost track of time and I ran out of pen and paper. In the end, I had to use stone shards to write on the walls and on the floor to decipher the code. Then, before I realized it, I ran out of space on the walls and floor. I had to calculate all the possibilities in my mind. After that, my memory started to become fuzzy, and my cognition slowed down.
She doesn't remember anything else. When she was found in the outskirts of Sumeru a few years ago, the academia speculates that she must have gotten and because of the ruins' special properties that halted her aging, she was able to use those 100. Though she had finally broken free, 100 years had passed. In the end, even the don't make that face. I'm not telling you this because I want to drum up sympathy. She wouldn't. Rather, she sees that period of entrapment as an experimental error. Even after going through so much, she's returned to Sumeru and still hasn't given up on her research. Due to changes over the years and drift in academic subjects, she holds some rather What I want to say is that no matter what era we're in, Farazan is a true senior researcher, in every sense of the word. She has her own deep understanding.
Master, Madame Farazan's done.
Oh, let's head over. With any luck, she might have figured something out.
I never thought that I'd encounter a restitution module once again after 100 years. Abatui really, if my guess is correct, this mechanical life form has...
It used them for something else.
I knew it. If I'm not Abatui's modified this module, like the creators of the Ruins machine once tried the restitution module as the result of... It replicates the behavior of living things to... For example, once the heart is damaged, it'll be even 100 years ago, I'd only, based on my current research, I'll need to swap out the damage. But like I just said, the module is rare, even by the standards of ancient machines. Not finding suitable parts would be like trying to find a single gear in the vast desert, to say nothing of the difficult... One can only...
I might have an idea. Abatui was, for a time, quite...
You mean to say he found arrested...
But the desert's huge.
According to the Academia's records...
I do know that a Vahumana researcher for...
Should we ask them if they've made any...
The chances are slim.
His name is Raid. I think he's stationed at the northeast part of the Hypostyle Desert.
Oh, you and Kale should probably... Besides, you still need to take care of the trouble that the Academia left for me.
Trouble from the
I'll let Kale...
A fully...
Master?
Oh.
Huh? Oh, yeah.
Well, hurry up and...
Oh.
What is this?
Halt! Mr. Raid's permission is required to proceed any further. That still won't do. Mr. Raid told us to keep people away from the ruins.
Damage the site? I've excavated more ruins than you visited.
He isn't at the campsite now. You should all leave. Only he can give you permission to enter.
What a stubborn guy. You're right. Even if there is new information, we still have to wait for him to come back so we can ask him about it. So let's just see what we can find out from the people here. I'm going to give that Raid a good talking to when he gets back. Starting from who in...
Halt! Mr.
That machine looks amazing! Could it be the legendary... The location seems to fit too. Might that...
The ruins. Don't know anything. We were only hired to deliver water and supplies to them. Forget excavation. They won't even let us get close to the camp where they're staying.
This area used to be ravaged by frequent sandstorms. They say that this was done by a single traveler? But seriously, is such a thing even humanly possible?
Well, I found out everything I could. Is there anything that stands out to you? The villagers were hired to deliver supply. However, I'm more concerned about this ruin wanderer. That's the first time I've heard that name. It's a bit far away, and I can't really say...
Huh? What are you guys doing back here? I wouldn't blame you for not knowing about it, young. It's said that this monster, the Ruin Wanderer, traversed through Some said that it was like a giant, while others said that it was like a beast. Then, about 10 years ago, we stopped hearing any news about... You youngsters probably don't know about...
Centuries? Impossible. I heard...
Wait. Back then?
Indulge my curiosity for a moment. Why do you think that...
Well,
You heard that nonsense from the Eremites after they got... Madam Faruzan, it is a pleasure. I'm Raid. I'd heard of you at the Academia, but I didn't... And this must be the famous...
Have you found any special
I'm ashamed to say that we...
Really? That ruin
I'm afraid those are... The wise do not buy into rumors, so it is said. I believe that you too...
It is also said that real knowledge shall come from practice. You can take credit for any new discoveries. I believe this offer to be sufficiently...
In truth, However, you two must be tired after... It's getting late, and there's a tent that the villagers occasionally use to rest...
Since you need to rest as well, let's... This is quite far away. Are they trying to prevent the villagers from eavesdropping on them? This suits us just fine, though. This way, they won't overhear our conversations either. Now, I have my suspicions about this archaeological expedition team and that machine wreckage. I only caught a quick glimpse, and it was from a distance. But based on the condition of the armor and joints, it didn't seem like something that had been lying around for centuries. Yes, the timing coincides with the spreading of the legend. Now, assuming that it really is the Ruin Wanderer, how do you suppose it was able to maintain a relatively good condition despite high-intensity operation over the course of several decades? That's right. Technically speaking, the module shouldn't be able to move such a large machine chassis. However, I'm basing my knowledge on the mechanical life forms I've seen before. Well, this was over 100 years ago. It was a machine about the same size as Carcata, actually. It couldn't carry heavy objects or fight, and was only able to help me record some notes. It also helped me deliver letters home. I found it near the desert, which is why I wondered if there might be more restitution modules buried around here. Honestly, people in ancient times might have already solved the problem of providing enough power for all I know. I'll need to research this properly. Had I confronted Raid right there and then, he would have said that he couldn't tell that the machine was special. Then he'd just hand it over to the Academia obediently, and he'd get away scot-free. If the wreckage were to be handed to the Academia, it'd be much tougher for us to do research on it or get spare parts for Carcata. Anyway, we should figure out what they're planning before making our next move. They insisted that we should stay the night, which means if they're trying to pull a fast one on us, they're likely to try tonight. We must be vigilant. Are those sounds coming from the excavation site? I knew they wouldn't be able to wait. They must be scared that we might discover something tomorrow. Not a single person guarding the campsite. This must be quite the manpower expenditure. I'll see if they left any clues behind at their camp. Keep watch and help me stall them if it comes to that, would you? All right. I'm counting on you.
Why isn't the tent here yet? We need to switch it out tonight.
It's still on the way. I'm afraid this is the first time we're delivering such a huge one.
You good for hurry up and hide up.
Huh? Who's there?
I'm sorry. It's nothing. Just a tent. Someone damaged our current. The relics in the ruins are high. Well, speaking of which, I'd like to ask, also, where's Farazan?
I'm right here. Also, you forgot to address me as Madam.
Sorry, Madam Farazan.
You were all making so much noise that I couldn't sleep, which is why I got the Traveler to find out what was going on. But for some reason, that one task took forever, so I came to check in on the situation.
I'm very sorry for disturbing your rest. I'll tell my subordinates to be quieter on patrol.
Good. Come on, Traveler. Yes, we should get better rest. Thanks for dealing with them. Now, I found something good on my end. These are the excavations. According to them, the ruins have been I also observed the wreckage up close earlier. The weathering is nowhere near as extensive as on the relics that have been buried for over 100. There's no doubt that the wreckage and the ruins don't belong to the same era. Instead, it must have wandered into the ruins about a dozen years ago. It could have fallen into a trap or encountered a glitch within the ruins, remaining stationary like that until it was discovered recently. However, I still don't know why they'd want to hide it. I have no doubt that the researcher could definitely reach the same conclusion I did. The last few pages of the it's just wordplay. And if anything, that's my wheelhouse. Just a bit more. I see now.
Help! Please help! Why are you running away? Come back! Protect me!
What's that sound? Is it? The Ruin Wanderer? Reactivated? That's impossible! Is this the work of some kind of hidden mechanism? Never mind. We have to focus on saving lives first. I'll cover them. You go stall the Ruin Wanderer. What? It ignored the Traveler?
Why is it chasing after us?
What could have caused it to reactivate? Did it give chase?
Darn it! Hey, come on, you lot! It's clear that we can't escape, so let's just attack it!
It stopped?
Hey, you guys, get up there and tell me what's going on.
But what if it suddenly moves?
You good-for-nothings. Why is everyone I hired so useless? Move! I'll do it myself. Looks like this thing's parts can't handle the load of functioning anymore after years of disrepair. When it first reactivated, I was wondering if it'd be as amazing as the legends had pegged it to be. I didn't expect it to be so much weaker than it looks. How disappointing.
Disappointing, you say? Now, is that because you won't be able to sell it for much?
Faru-san, you may be my senior as an academia researcher, but that doesn't mean you get to slander me.
You wrote these excavation records, did you not? Or perhaps calling it a ledger might jog your memory a bit better.
I don't recognize that thing.
January 3rd, excavated 5 tents. January 5th, 3 tents sold. January 10th, 1 special tent pre-sold. It must quickly be switched out with an old tent. You're supposed to be an archaeological expedition team, and yet here you are, secretly selling the relics and profiting from it. When you believed that you had found the wreckage of the Ruin Wanderer, you tried to switch in wreckage that you had excavated previously to pull the wool over the Academia's eyes. After all, there would probably be many wealthy buyers interested in purchasing the legendary Ruin Wanderer in the black market, yes? And then we arrived just before you could finish your work. That forced you to speed up your plan, and you tried to complete the switch overnight before I could investigate the wreckage. In your haste, however, you accidentally activated the Ruin Wanderer instead. Did I get that all right?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You lack the curiosity befitting a man of knowledge, nor do you have respect for mechanical life forms. You're not fit to be a researcher.
Ridiculous. Curiosity? Respect? I'm not here to hear you preach. Hey, we're leaving.
Mr. Aid!
Behind you? Why is it moving again? Run!
Huh?
Some said that it was like a giant, while others said that it was like a beast. However, none knew why it wandered the ruins.
Technically speaking, the module shouldn't be able to move such a large machine chassis. However, I'm basing my knowledge on the mechanical life forms I've seen before. Centuries? Impossible. I heard nothing about it back then. It could only have been around for a few decades at most.
Why is it chasing after us?
So you've been looking for me this whole time? Long time no see, Tamimi.
Dear Farazan, I hope you're doing well. It has been over 20 years since you went missing. People from the academia keep telling us to give up and that you're most likely dead. But somehow, I feel like you're still alive. Yes, that you live still in some corner of this world. You've always been persistent, able to shine no matter what situation you face. I believe that this persistence serves you well in surviving and finding your way home. Unfortunately, I likely won't be able to welcome you home when you do. I don't have much time left, and my reflexes have slowed. Others keep telling me to stop exploring ruins. Only Tamimi is still the same as before, always running off to places which you've been to. Your teacher and friends came up with an idea to remodel Tamimi so it can search for you in our place. You didn't like coming home back then and would always get Tamimi to send a letter back. Now we're leaving a letter with Tamimi. I wonder if it'll ever be delivered to you. I don't know the answer to that question, but if you ever read this letter, I hope it'll be when you've already found your way home. I regret not being able to say this to you myself, but I'll still feel sincerely happy for you, my dear daughter.
Welcome home, Farzan. Look at you, Tamimi. You've changed so much after all these years. Thank you for waiting for me all this time. I've safely received the letters. Your work is done now. You can sleep. Tamimi, the mechanical life form I encountered back then. When I would go on expeditions, it would follow me, take notes for me, and send my letters home. When I met with that accident, it was on the way to deliver a letter for me. I once thought that I'd never get to see it again. I didn't expect my teacher and others to remodel its self-repair function, upgrading it to self-learning. And so, in order to plumb the depths of unknown ruins and overcome dangerous traps, it repaired and modified itself using parts it found along the way. One decade of wandering became many, and soon, Tamimi, which used to be incapable of even moving heavy objects, became the Ruin Wanderer. All so it could deliver these last letters from them to me. The strain to support such a huge body, even after the remodeling, just like a living being, mechanical life forms have it most likely only reactivated. Tainari told you what happened to me. You don't have to apologize. Besides, however, finding out, can you head back to Pardis DI first? As for me,
How was your journey through the desert? Wait.
Oh no. She finally got to reunite with an old friend from 100 years ago. But
As a researcher, she could perhaps accept it. However, as a friend, student, and a daughter, we should give her some time. Let's just wait for her here. And in the future, I hope that we can be here to support her as her new friends.
What? Is there to be no welcoming party?
We've all been waiting for you, Madame Farazan.
That's more like it. Now, here are some components I brought back from the desert. Switch these out with the ones Karkata is using right now, and it'll be back in ship shape. Huh? Why do you all look so solemn? Come now. Liveliness befits youngsters more.
Madame Farazan, did these parts come from...
Come now. I thought that you must have encountered some major problem. This isn't something you have to worry about. Well, it looks like you already know everything, but no need to feel bad. Like I said before, as researchers, we must learn to accept our failures. Tamimi had been operating beyond capacity for a century, and I'm unable to repair it with my current abilities. Not even with these parts. It would thus be much better to use them to extend Karkata's lifespan. As a senior, it is only right that I do something for the people who come after me. That holds true for both researchers. Besides, I didn't say that I would be giving you these parts for free. They will only be used for Karkata temporarily. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to help me with my research. I'll be sure to revive Tamimi once I've fully deciphered and replicated the creations of the ancient civilization.
All right. I'll do my best to help.
Me too. Although, I'm not sure if I'll be much help.
Thank you. If they could remodel Tamimi successfully even back then, there's no reason why we won't be able to do even better. And when that day comes, I'll be sure to say, welcome home, Tamimi.
You're back!
Ah, how was your journey through the desert? Wait, where's Madame... So, Madame Farazan has some other things to settle. All right. And to think that Raid was doing all those things on the sly. It's good that you all got out of that situation in one piece.
Madame Farazan will be able to repair Karkata when she gets back, won't she?
Welcoming party.
Madame Farazan, we're over here!
That's more like it. Now, here are some components I brought back from the desert. Switch these out with the ones Karkata is...
So this is a relic of an ancient civilization. Unbelievable. Thankfully, it didn't end up in Raid.
Unscrupulous, huh? Sounds like you already told them what happened. Is that so? Thank you. We will talk about everything else later. It's nothing. I've already given all the evidence we have against Raid to the Academia. They're going to be very busy. Too busy to bother us, I'd wager. I'll start repairing Karkata then. Kale, can you help me out?
Of course!
Ah, you're here. Thank you for keeping Tamimi a secret. If I tell them about Tamimi, will they still feel happy for Karkata? Even if we could convince them to accept the components, they'll probably still feel bad about it. I don't want my past to affect people in the present. That applies to both me. It's fine. I'm used to this. I once believed that I'd never hear from my old friends and family ever again. Even their faces are getting hazier in my memories. However, I could remember them clearly again after reading the letter Tamimi handed to me and learning that they'd never given up on me. That's more. I'd be disappointing them if I let myself fall into a slump because of this. Neither my teacher nor my mother would have wanted to see me like that. Besides, you're lending a listening ear to me now, aren't you? Oh, Pardeus DI looks pretty scenic at night. Will you take a stroll with me? Once Karkata's condition stabilizes, I'll find a chance to tell Tainari and Kale about all that. But for now, just help me keep this secret. Thank you. Whether it's 100 years ago or now, I have people who worry about me. I suppose I should consider myself quite fortunate. The only time when I felt otherwise was when I had just returned to Sumeru. No one came to check up on me then. Yeah, I'm home.
What now? She seems... Master said there's no rush, but I know that he's been busy working on something. I feel for Madame Farazan, but if I get her in trouble with the academia, then she won't have the time. But if someone does complain to the academia, wouldn't it make Farazan's situation? And if the academia investigated and found her at Party's DI, do you have some way to invite her over to... Okay then.
Huh. I have to teach students from Haravatat, or Oka...
Madame Farazan, we're back!
Well,
Please, Madame Farazan, focus! Huh?
Why, that lad didn't make it very clear.
Yeah!
Wait. Also, there isn't much over...
A fully automated...
A fully automated...
Precisely. I saw a similar mechanism...
A mechanism like that? But we...
Fret not. I'll have time...
An official proposal. I'll go inform my...
Sure. Phew. I think she bought me, even though this is our...
Wow!
Who knows?
Huh?
If I'm right...
What now? She seems so... Master said there's no... I feel for Matt, but if I get her in trouble... Yeah, that would... But I'm sure he'll say... Huh? Oh, so if I also stay... Okay then. We're back, Madame Farazan. The traveler said that—
Oh, why I couldn't— Is that so? Now, I don't know if Tainari— I don't belong to Ksharawar, which—
She has been in—
Just listen to how they introduce them. Besides, if they're trying to—
No, that's not it. The representative of—
Oh, putting aside my—
Yeah.
In summary, Akara Craft— The Academia—
True. The current—
Madame Farazan.
Anise, Ksharawar—
Port Ormos?
I probably—
No worries. Go do your homework, Call. Thank you.
Madame Farazan!
All right, after all.
Now, we've given a—
That's expected. Students who have never had to deal with budget—
If you join the Ksharawar, your budget will be as big as you want it to be. I guarantee it.
That's enough. I will not repeat myself. Take me to Akara Crafts owner first, if you please.
All right. Momdu, the one I
Yes.
Ah, wonderful. We've made many suggestions.
These early learning toys are meant to help the academia train future
But if they're too complicated, not only will they be expensive to produce—
So the design can't be too complicated, but it can't be too easy to play with either.
I remember that in your notes.
The contraptions in my— But now that you mention it, the—
You have an idea already? Oh, you're done already?
Let me explain. These paper strips are very—
Well, that is—
That's very simple as well.
Is it?
Of course. When moved, it's like building a tower. The rings and the three—
Pagoda stack.
That sounds way too simple. Even—
Give it a try and you'll—
It's such a simple toy. There's no need to—
Momdu, let's just—
And that's how you play this game.
You called everyone—
It doesn't look like it.
Come on, we all promised to help Mr. Momdu test out the—
Ugh, fine. Let's get this over and done with so we can head back and play cards.
Done. It took me 19— Huh?
I only needed 18 steps.
Not bad. Looks like you're all familiar with the rules now. Then let's increase the difficulty. The next tower will be 5 layers tall. Now then, give it a
Wait. Well, since we're already here, why don't we just give it a try?
An extra layer shouldn't make it that much harder, right?
What's going on? I've already moved.
I'm almost done. Looks like I'm the faster one this time. Done!
What?
This pagoda stack toy—
Good. We'll try it one final time. This time we'll— Momdu, we've still got quite a few—
Do you need that many steps for some—
Madame Farazan,
You were looking at it quite seriously just now. Are you If you want to test out your hypothesis—
Got it.
Ah, we don't have enough paper strips left for you, Traveler. However, by the looks of things, you seem to have the game. Why don't you guess what the lowest number of steps needed to solve a 7-layer pagoda stack is? What a shame. You were close. However, let's see how well they do then.
If I move this small ring...
I've lost count of how many steps.
This got a lot harder.
I solved it!
That many? But there are only 7 layers.
For every extra layer in...
More accurately, it will require double the steps, plus 1. The complexity of any given contraption isn't determined by the number of parts it has.
Oh, I see. No wonder you emphasized in your...
I see. So even a simple toy can become...
That's right. The rules used for Pagoda Stack, I could spend some time picking out all. Once that happens, you can give the volunteers the reference book and paper prototypes. And
Do you have any other toys?
Yeah, when can we play with them?
In about 2 days or so, I think.
Of course!
2 days should be enough for us to find more volunteers. You'd be most...
Thank you for coming here with... I'll be going then. Say hi to Tainari and Kale for me if you can. Once everything here is settled, I'll make my way over to Pardistii as quickly as You want to ask why I'm unwilling to join them. Yet putting aside the fact that they're too full of themselves, I actually have no issue with their research methodologies and approach. After all, knowledge is either right or wrong. Superiority and inferiority do not come into the conversation. All researchers are just doing their best to shed light, no matter what corner of the unknown they shed light on. It's a step forward for us all. Because I believe wholeheartedly, even if the others call my research useless, as long as in the end, when I first started Decipher, that's why there's no need for me to... Perhaps if this collaborative project goes smoothly, I could come up with lots of ideas. You're right. By using detailed and accurate... Thank you. I'll take...
Oh, you're here.
We've called up every...
My master... To sum up, the 24 form. All right, let's go to the next page.
Are we...
I don't understand any...
Are these really toys?
They sound a bit too...
Oh.
Well, we've prepared...
Oh, this is no fun.
I want to go home and...
Forget it. I don't...
I should go home and take...
How did this happen? Forget about getting opinions from others. No one even wanted to stay and try them out.
I'm sorry. I think we miscalculated.
No, I will find a way.
Excuse me?
Ah, you're that
Do I stand? Let me introduce myself.
What's the branch
I came to Port Ormos. Can you print a few more
What does the adventure?
You may see them as toys. We have many even if the
and our...
Well...
It might... If you can make wood... If we can supply...
You really think so?
Making models of contraptions?
We'll probably... After all, this can...
Then let's cut to the chase.
I still have a lot to do at the guild. How about you take a rest while I go back?
I'll be going then. Say hi to Tainari and Kale for me if you... A niece. She's able to come? I'll do my best to teach her over the next few days. Still, well, her interest lies in... I do have some... My research into... If she becomes my student to learn how to make modern... However, if I successfully... Perhaps if this collaborative project goes smoothly, I can even ignore her avatat and ask for a higher budget directly from the academia. Oh, I could come up with lots of ideas. With the niece's help, You're right. If no one understands the reference book, it's better to make it thank you.
You should really bring the Knights of Favonius with you next time.
Oh, you're here.
We've called up everyone.
My masterpiece is going to be... And if we activate this little mechanism, a Sumera rose...
Oh, I thought it came out of...
If the mechanism was...
Then you can't use a cane.
You're applying what you learned creatively. Let's look at the next page. If you fold an origami...
Whoa. You can make a mechanism using just a piece of...
The principle...
These are pretty cool.
I'm not that interested in...
Everyone! This is such a...
But we want to...
It's fine.
Oh, my... Professor Farazan?
You may wish to pay attention.
Wow!
Madame Farazan, will we learn? Of course you will. In the future if you want. But Mom and Dad...
Which darshan teach...
Well,
I know. We need to...
Huh?
I want to attend Kashara.
I want to... Actually, the other darshans... How did this happen?
What if we end...
No. The only person... Let me tell you a story.